everybody. It's Don Lubach from the Ombuds office. And look at this. This is a book written by an expert on communication during crises, during difficult times. And the author is right here. She was just walking across the campus and agreed to pop in at a safe social distance and give me some tips and give all of us some tips on communicating during a crisis. Kathryn McKee, hello.
Hello. Thanks for asking.
So good that you could pop in and go in an isolated room and answer some questions. UCSB is in an interesting time right now, and my first question for you is, for those of us who are managers and faculty members and who are in a position of leadership, which is really all of us, but managers particularly, how can we communicate effectively during this difficult time?
I think what's important, since we all have telephones or computers or whatever, that managers make an effort, a special effort, to be in touch with the people that they can't see because they're working from home or they were on hiatus or something, whatever it is that's happened in each department. But it's important to check in and a couple of questions. How are you doing at home, and how can I help? Because most of the students and others probably have assignments that they've taken home with them. And so the boss should be in touch, not every minute or every hour, but occasionally, maybe once every other day or something. Just what's new? How are you doing at home? How's the family? So that the people know that you care about them. And that would start from the top as well, because senior executives also need to have that kind of caring feeling coming to them, because these are difficult times. We've all been interrupted in the work that we're supposed to do. I'm, as you well know, having difficulty learning about Zoom, but we're all going to be on Zoom talking and trying to continue to lecture, educate our students who have gone home, many of whom have assignments. We're just starting a new quarter at the beginning of April, and so students have left and they may not even have their syllabus. And they may not have their textbooks with them. Who knows? And so we all have to adapt, right, and continue to communicate, to answer the question briefly.
Yeah. And you and I were talking about some of the different climates you've worked for. You were at the very top of a very well-known movie studio in LA, very top of a national or an international bank.
Yeah.
Before, and then you're teaching here and doing special projects here at UCSB. It sounds like in some ways we're more alike than different from those different environments. You were telling me about studio lots are a little bit like have some of the same silos that we have at the university. Anything unique to us as gauchos that we can do to get through this time?
Again, communicating, and for people that occasionally work across lines, so that we have scientists that are here, and we have socialists. Excuse me.
Socialist.
Socialist isn't what I really meant.
Right.
But that was my major, sociology. And so you have these different interests, but we do need to communicate with each other. And that's something that this university happens to have, a pretty good communications department on the staff level. And so messaging is important throughout the university, from the top to the bottom, if you will, so that everybody knows what's happening and what changes may be being made or when they will be made, so that the lines of communication are continuous. You mentioned the bank that I had worked for, First Interstate Bank, 4 years ago, and our building had a huge fire. And skyscrapers, it was very difficult for them ever to be repaired and functional. And that one, we went through hell, if you will, with 2,000 or 3,000 employees that were directly impacted because we couldn't go back in that building. And in a way, that led to the book, leading people through disasters, because we had to do that. We had to get through the disaster of losing our offices for a temporary period, much like what's happening here.
Right. So You mentioned when we were talking earlier that you're available to us. You're one of us. You're on campus. You certainly agreed to just pop in here. If a manager or somebody on campus would like a few tips from someone who's been through a couple of other disasters, you're available for that?
Oh, of course. And one of the things that just briefly, post-traumatic stress syndrome can happen with any of us when we're in these kind of tense times. And so that's something for managers and others to be aware of when somebody acts differently than you've ever seen them act before. So and that's also in the book.
Good. And I asked you earlier, are we going to be okay, Kathryn? Are we going to make it?
We are absolutely going to be okay. We are a very resilient population. And we've been through, when you think about what this university has been through, and not necessarily on the campus, but next door in Isla Vista, with all kinds of deranged behavior that occurs. And we've had people who've been killed by strange people that really weren't connected with the U. And so we got through that, and it's happened more than once. So we're very resilient.
Yeah.
We'll be frustrated, but we're very resilient.
Yeah, that's right. It's okay to be frustrated. Well, thank you so much. And speaking of, if you have any concerns about communication during these times, the folks, my colleagues and myself at the Ombuds office are here for you. I'll put our phone number as part of this video. We're open for business. We may not, our doors may not be open, but we're here for telephone and Zoom appointments as well, and for drop-ins from good old campus friends like Kathryn McKee. So thanks so much for being here, and take care of yourself, and we'll check in soon. Thank you, Kathryn.